on, guys? I hope everyone's having a great day. So, I initially tried to do this video once already. I actually recorded it and tried to upload it originally a few days ago, and for whatever fucking reason, it just would not upload. Didn't matter what I did. Didn't matter. I've tried to delete it and then re-upload, and it just wouldn't upload for whatever fucking reason. I don't know what's going on there. But it is what it is. I promised this video for a while, as well as just a return in general, and guess what? It's finally happening. I've just been really busy and really unmotivated lately, dealing with some mental health things that, I said I was going to be more open about with on this channel that, through my own fault, I've not been, so I need to get back on track with that. And I promised you guys I would show you my entire VHS collection, and these are VHSs that I've had for fuck God knows how long. Since I was able to fucking walk, I think some of them I picked up recently just to expand the collection a little bit, but most of them are VHSs that have been in this household for many, 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 many fucking years. So let's go ahead and stop wasting time and get into it. So the first one we have is Ridley Scott's Alien. This is a classic horror movie. It's brilliant in every sense of the word. It's not actually my favorite in the franchise, but it is absolutely brilliant, and it's an absolute masterpiece. And I think this is one I prefer to watch on Blu-ray, but just having this VHS here is like, it's really nostalgic, and I'm just glad I have it. So yeah. All right, so this is actually my favorite in the Alien franchise. Is the second one, Aliens, directed by what was it, James Cameron, and I do prefer this movie. I think this is an example of a sequel that's actually better than its original. There are a few sequels out there that I think are better than the original: Terminator 2, Spider-Man 2, Superman 2. This is just one of those. I actually prefer Back to the Future 2 over the first one as well. But this is another prime example of a sequel that I think is better than the original. Um, it's just such a great movie. It's a very different movie. This is more of an action film, where the first one's more of a sci-fi horror. So I guess depending on your taste, those of you that prefer the horror side of this franchise will prefer the first one. Those of you that prefer the more action-centric side will probably prefer this one. I do prefer this one, but I love both the original films. Alright, on to Alien 3. I actually enjoy Alien 3. It's not perfect. There is a lot of studio interference that I think kind of holds this one back from being great. Um, I do think it's definitely better than Prometheus and Alien fucking Covenant, most certainly. There's a lot to enjoy in this movie, but like I said, this is, I think, a product of studio interference where, I mean, the general consensus for this is not very good, but I actually think this movie is pretty good. It doesn't hold a candle to the first two, but Alien 3 is pretty good. All right, speaking of films that are really good, this is actually a really, really good one too, Alien Resurrection. If you actually bought that, yeah, I don't really know what to say if you fell for that, but the less said about this thing, the better. So we're just gonna leave it at that. All right, so we've got Tim Burton's Batman. Now, for the longest time, it was weird. I've been weird with this movie because as a kid, I absolutely loved this movie. As a teenager, I thought this was the worst movie ever fucking made. And as an adult, you know what? I've gained a new appreciation for this movie. Um, it is kind of inaccurate to. I don't remember. Actually, I don't remember if it's this one or the film after this where Batman fucking kills somebody with a grenade. I think it's this one. I've not seen the Tim Burton Batman films in a really long time, so it's actually they're probably long overdue for a rewatch. I think it's this one. Don't quote me on that. But the Batman, I wasn't initially a big fan of Michael Keaton as Batman. I mean, he's not the best Batman, but to be truthful, at this point, we've had worse. We've had worse Batmans out there. Ben Affleck. Even though I thought Ben Affleck was fine, he's definitely, I think, the weakest Batman. not the most physically weakest, but yeah, you know what I'm saying. All right, next we actually got Batman Returns. This one I have always actually kind of enjoyed. Like I said, both the Burton Batman movies are long overdue for a rewatch with me, and I mean I own the Blu-rays and stuff, so I might check them out again. Um, I not long ago watched Batman Forever and really enjoyed Batman Forever. I don't own that or Batman and Robin on VHS, but I do own the first two from the fucking what was it? The universe. I lost my train of thought. I know Batman Forever and Batman and Robin weren't directed by Tim Burton, but I think they take place all in the same universe, kind of like the Richard Donner Superman version. This is kind of the Batman equivalent to that. But yeah, Batman Returns I remember liking a lot better than the first one. All right, next we got a movie I'm actually not really a big fan of, but I do like it. I had an ex who this is their favorite movie of all time, so that's kind of soured me on this, considering me and the ex are not on good terms at all. I still like this movie. It's Braveheart, and for the younger people that don't understand why there are two tapes on the inside, is that back in these days, before DVDs, before Blu-rays were a thing, and I know I have some younger viewers because some of you interact with me that probably don't remember VHSs. So when you had a big long movie like Braveheart or Titanic or The Green Mile or Pearl Harbor, a movie like that, Schindler's List, they couldn't fit the entirety of the 3 hour long film on one tape. So it's broken down into two tapes. Um, they pretty much just fit whatever they could on the first one and then fit the rest of it on the second tape. So that's how you had to watch how you had to watch these big 3 hour long blockbusters back in the day. Now they can fit everything on the little circular disc, but back in these days, no, you had to put these big long films on two tapes. Just for I know you older my older audience knows that, but the younger guys they may not have known that. So, this is not this stack of VHS tapes. This is not the one that's next. No, this is the one that's next. We've got Commando, one of my favorite Schwarzenegger movies. Um, it's basically Taken before Taken, and well, I don't think it's as technically impressive as Taken. This is just a really fun, cheesy, schlocky action movie. It's a product of its time. The '80s just had a lot of those cheesy, schlocky action movies. Then you had like the great ones like Die Hard and Rambo and whatnot. But you had these cheesy ones like Commando and Total Recall. Which I don't really say Total Recall is cheesy, but Commando is definitely a one I enjoy watching from time to time. All right, got an all-time classic here, one of my all-time favorites, The Crow. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant masterpiece of a movie, and this is, I think, the only one I've seen. No, I've seen part of the second or the first sequel, and I don't think I ever got through it. And I know there's like two or three more that I refuse to watch, as well as I refuse to watch the remake that's supposedly being made. It's actually not supposedly being made; it is being made. I'm not gonna see it because this is really this is the product that I'm happy with the most. I don't know what that was that just fell on the floor, but and speaking of Die Hard, we got Die Hard, classic movie. Die Hard's just such a classic. And then we got one that I actually enjoy. People don't seem to be too fond of this one. Is Die Hard 2. A part of me actually enjoys this one more than the original, but there's another part of me that doesn't. I don't know. It's weird. I definitely prefer the setting of Die Hard 2 more than the first one. When people they go on about what the best Die Hard sequel is, you'll get Die Hard 3, Die Hard with a Vengeance, and you will get Live Free or Die Hard. But I never see this at the top of anybody's favorite Die Hard sequel um, list. And I think a lot of it is to do with the fact that it is kind of repetitive. It's basically Die Hard 1, but set in an airport instead of a hotel. So I can definitely understand why people won't prefer Die Hard 2 over Die Hard 3 or 4, which Die Hard 4 used to be my favorite Die Hard movie. That was the first one I saw in theaters. But we got a little underrated flick here. I think this is actually a pretty good movie that I don't hear a lot of people talk about. Domestic Disturbance. This one's really, I think this movie's pretty good. It's a typical thriller. It's interesting to see the type of character that Vince Vaughn plays in this movie. John Travolta plays this father who is going through a divorce with his wife, and his wife's moved on to Vince Vaughn, who's the stepdad of their child, and the child discovers that he is, well, he's not the most upstanding citizen in the world, and he did take a life, and has been known to take lives before. So you kind of get Vince Vaughn blackmailing the child throughout the whole movie. It's just, you got to see it. It's pretty good. If you haven't seen this one, it's pretty good. I recommend it. All right, we got the only movie that I actually enjoy in this franchise. I can't stand this franchise as a whole, but I do really enjoy this first film, Final Destination. Really, really fun movie. I don't really, like I said, I don't like any of the sequels, the second, the third. I really don't like the fourth. I think if I was to go with the sequel, I think the fifth one's watchable at least. But yeah, I'm not a fan of the sequels, but I do really enjoy this first one. Definitely a product of its time, but um, I mean, this has 2000s written all over it, but it's a fun, interesting concept. Oh, okay, I see what it is. It's these coins that are falling on the floor. I'm gonna have to pick those up later. I'm not gonna do it right now, obviously. All right, we got John Carpenter's The Fog. This one was one that really freaked me out when I was a kid. Um, Definitely, probably shouldn't have been watching this at the age that I watched it at, but aside from some of the daylight scenes that aren't that good in this film, the nighttime scenes are actually really well directed, and this is definitely one of my favorite ones to watch around Halloween time. It's just a nice, straight to the point ghost story with some the Carpenter style. You can't really go wrong with The Fog, man. All right. Next, we got a film that I really enjoy that gets really mixed reviews. I got Ghost Ship. Uh, I will admit this movie does definitely blow its load really early in the first bit of the movie, and then it kind of gets a little in the middle and the end. But it's a fun, cheesy, schlocky 2000s horror movie for sure. It's got some pretty good gore in it too. I don't know. I really always enjoyed Ghost Ship. All right, so let me move some of this shit out of the way, and then we will get into the goodies, because now we're getting into the shit that fucking. Hang on a second. No, 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 we're good. We're good. So anyway, let me. What the fuck happened here? No, we're good. We're good. Anyway, I apologize. This is the franchise that fucking kickstarted my channel. John Carpenter's Halloween. There's the back. It's this version of it. Um, love this movie, obviously. I mean, it's an all-time classic, as well as Halloween 2. This version of Halloween 2, I actually like this edition of this VHS. This is the same version I have on DVD as well, except this is the VHS version. Halloween 1 and 2, they go together like peanut butter and jelly. If you don't like peanut butter and jelly, then you're not going to understand that reference. Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, underrated sequel. Probably the best sequel in the franchise, maybe. It's definitely the black sheep of this franchise, considering it does not contain Michael Myers, and I've never heard a valid criticism for Halloween 3, and what I mean by that is I've never heard a criticism of Halloween 3 that didn't mention the fact that Michael Myers is not in the movie. Oh, I don't like Halloween 3. It doesn't have Michael Myers in it. But it's a good standalone flick, so that's really all I need. Alright, this is probably, at the moment, my favorite Halloween sequel. I've never really talked about this one all that much. Halloween 4. I don't know why, but the back of this VHS, for whatever reason, this image has always freaked me out as a kid. But I don't know. This and H2O always fight back and forth. But Halloween 4, man, I think it's got some of the best atmosphere in the franchise. All right, Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers. This is the CBS Fox video version. Um, I don't particularly like the back of this, and I know this is something really stupid to complain about. I don't like the second half of the. I don't like the bottom half. I just, for whatever reason, I know orange and black is like the fucking staple colors of Halloween, the holiday. I just don't like the way it looks on this VHS. It just looks kind of out of place, like it's the classic Halloween 5 poster, and then it just kind of throws me off. I don't know why. I just don't like that. But Halloween 5 is definitely one since the new Halloween trilogy I have learned to appreciate a lot more. Um, what was I saying? Fuck, I'm stupid. We've got Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers, and I could say this probably has some of the best atmosphere in the franchise too. This format is probably my favorite way to watch the Halloween movies, and I don't know why. Especially the Thorn trilogy for whatever reasons. My favorite VHS is my favorite way to watch it. It's just something about that graininess of the old VHS tapes that kind of goes well with the older Halloween films. I think the Blu-rays and DVDs kind of take away from it. So that's definitely my favorite way to watch Halloween and even Friday the 13th. Even though I actually don't own any of the Friday the 13th on VHS, I need to rectify that. But this is actually, to be truthful, let me move these out of the way and put this where it belongs because that something got mixed up here. So now I need to fucking turn these upside down because I put them up wrong. So I'm just now realizing where I messed up. Alright, so we've got the other one that rivals Halloween 4, H2O, like I mentioned. H2O killer sequel. It's, I think, better than 2018 personally, but that's just me. H2O is pretty good. Um, Halloween Resurrection. As I said about Alien Resurrection, the less said about this one, the better. It's funny that and ironic that they're both called Resurrection. So that name, I'm glad that going forward in Hollywood that name has been avoided because that's when your film is titled, when the 10th or the 11th film in your franchise is titled Resurrection, that's never a good sign. So, right. So we've got, and this kind of bothers me because this is not the first film in its franchise, but alphabetically this comes first. It's Hannibal, and this is technically Silence of the Lambs Part 2, and this movie's not really that good, to be honest with you. I definitely have fun with it, but it's really not good. It's got some good gore and good kills in it, especially the scene where the dude's fed to the hog. But this is definitely not anywhere close to the quality of the first film. Okay, yeah, I'm on the right track. All right, this is one of my favorite vampire movies. Now this thing has a stupid sticker on the front of it, and I don't really know what to say about it. This is one I picked up recently though. Is The Lost Boys with that stupid sticker on the front of it. But yeah, The Lost Boys I think is one of the greatest vampire movies ever made. They're remaking it. I'm just kind of getting over it now, to be honest with you. We've got a cult classic movie here, Lake Placid. Love this movie. I think it's one of the best croc films. This one, I think Rogue is probably up there too, as well as the first Blackwater film. But this is definitely a little bit more campy than those movies. Those movies are just straight serious. This one's definitely a lot more campy, a lot more fun, instead of depressing like those other two other films. But no, this movie's a lot of fun, man. This is such a classic movie. All right, so we got a movie from a franchise I'm not big on as a franchise, but I love this first movie, Jurassic Park. This is classic Spielberg, man. and I realized that alphabetically I have messed up somewhere. Jurassic Park. Yeah, because I'm looking at what I have over here, and it is. Yeah, I've messed up alphabetically, but that's fine. That's fine. We're already 20 minutes in. Jurassic Park, classic movie, absolutely classic movie. Now we have to kind of back up alphabetically. We got Raiders of the Lost Ark, first Indiana Jones movie. It's not technically Indiana Jones later Raiders of the Lost Ark, but it is the first Indiana Jones movie, so it is going to be in the eyes, unfortunately. Um, this is, I think, man, this is a tough one because this is everybody's favorite. It's not my favorite, but it's so great. It's so fucking great. And yeah, Raiders of the Lost Ark. We also got the Temple of Doom. Great, great, great film. Uh, I love the Temple of Doom. I think it's great. It's such a great film. And we got my favorite Indiana Jones movie, The Last Crusade. A lot of people get upset with me when I say that. Well, how is it not Temple of Doom or Raiders of the Lost Ark? I don't know. I've always enjoyed The Last Crusade the most. I think it's a perfect trilogy. And if you're gonna ask me how I feel about the new film, and I guess I'll take a second to talk about the new film. So I don't think this film would even be happening if Crystal Skull was actually good. So I am curious to see this new Indiana Jones film. I'm not expecting it to be on the way. I'm not expecting it to be the quality of the first three films. But if it's better than Crystal Skull, then I'll be okay with seeing Indiana Jones go out like that. Um, yeah, yeah, no, because I was not really a big fan of the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. I thought that movie was not awful, but it had a lot of decisions that I didn't agree with. So I'm hoping that this new film can deliver a bit better quality of a film than the last one did. But anyway, getting off Indiana Jones, we got Mad Max, first one, probably my favorite in the franchise, followed up by Fury Road, which that movie was just fucking awesome as it is. But Mad Max, that one's always got a soft spot in my heart, or I've got a soft spot in my heart for that movie rather. Misery. This is the film that I think kept horror relevant in the '90s and not Scream. Ooh, that's a controversial statement. That's what I do here. I make controversial statements. Yeah, I don't think Scream saved horror in the '90s. I think it was this film. Because everybody was burnt out on Jason and Freddy and Michael Myers. Everybody was burnt out. So at that time, I know this came out. This was early '90s, and Scream was more in the mid late '90s. Uh, Scream may have revived the slasher genre, but not the genre and as a whole. Because you had this, you had Nightbreed, you had all kinds of other better horror films than Scream. This is definitely, I think, probably the best horror film in the '90s. If not Misery, then Nightbreed for sure. Which a lot of people aren't big fans of Nightbreed. I think it's a pretty cool movie, but fuck, what was I saying? Anyway, we got this film, The Omen. This film fucking terrified me as a kid. The scene with the nanny where she hangs herself off the fucking off the window ledge. Like, what the fuck? That film just fuck. Oh man, that scene still fucking bothers me. There's not a lot of films out there that like genuinely affect me, but I saw it at a young age and I was like, oh my god, like it wasn't grotesque or overly gory. It wasn't anything like that. It was just the content of what was happening was just absolutely fucking disturbing. It's like the smile on her face and then she just jumps off the fucking thing and hangs herself. Like, what the fuck? At the time, I didn't really understand what was going on in the movie. I didn't understand that Omen meant son of the devil. All I saw was just this creepy little kid and all these people doing really, really, really sadistic things to themselves. Now, as an adult, I actually understand the movie, and it makes it 10 times more scary, as well as just Gregory Peck is phenomenal in the movie. It's the same. Adding Gregory Peck to a movie like that is like adding Donald Pleasance to Halloween or fucking Betsy Palmer to Friday the 13th. Adding that star power just elevates your movie. Alright, got a classic movie here. This is probably one of my favorite films of this genre. A genre that I'm not too big on most of the time. But Platoon. I love this movie. I think this is the best pre-Private Ryan war film. Uh, I just love what this film has to say. This film has a lot to say about the downfall of society, and it tells that tale through this war story where people become morally corrupt through these actions, these heinous things that they're forced to do, and it really says a lot about the time during the Vietnam War where people were being lied to and sent overseas. The propaganda was getting people to fucking join as well as the draft. Uh, luckily, the fucking Vietnam War got ended with the fucking sit-ins and whatnot. And if anybody knows, I don't have the highest opinion of the Vietnam War. I think it was a stupid, stupid fucking war. I don't really care what people have to say about, they it's fighting to end communism. There's no justification for war at all. But that's just me. But I don't mean to get all political and whatnot. But that's my personal opinion, and I think Platoon's a great film. We've got the third film of the Silence of the Lambs franchise, but yet we are not at the first film. But we got Red Dragon. I think this movie's a little bit better than Hannibal by a long shot. This one's a little bit less B movie ish, and it's got Ed Norton in it too. And I actually really like Ed Norton, so that's always great to have Ed Norton. Anthony Hopkins, which he was the highlight of the second film, Hannibal. He's great in this as well. And now to the first one, The Silence of the Lambs, horror classic. And a lot of people say it's not a horror movie. I think there's enough horror in this movie to call it a horror film. One of the greatest of all time. This is one of my favorite movies of all time. It's just such a brilliant film, and I never get tired of watching it. I don't know why. I just never get tired of watching it. I watch this movie at least 3 times a year. It's just such a fucking classic. Now, I know that alphabetically that didn't come first either, and they're not perfectly alphabetical, but yeah, you're gonna have to just forgive me. All right, the only film in this franchise I like, and the only one that I find actually funny. This is a comedy, scary movie. I think this movie's actually pretty funny. I normally don't like comedies because I'm just really a hard person to impress with humor. There's a lot of like those 2000s comedies like Superbad and The Sex Drive and movies like that. Pineapple Express. I find a lot of those movies funny, but I normally don't find the scary movies funny except for this first one. A lot of people like the second one better. I didn't get the second one. Except for the Exorcist part where they're all vomiting on each other. I actually thought that was kind of funny, but no. This one's definitely, I think, the funniest of the series. There's some funny moments in the second one too. I think after the second one, they just became not funny to me at all. I remember the third one parodied Signs, and the fourth one did what was it? Not fucking World War Z, fucking War of the Worlds, and Saw, and didn't find it funny, and I don't think I ever saw the fifth one. So, all right, this one here fucking absolutely terrified me as a kid, and you got to watch this one like you're in the 1970s. I think this was the 70s when this came out. Yeah, I think, or was it the 80s? I'm not sure. I think this is the 70s, but Salem's Lot. Stephen King. The remake of this thing sucks, but I think, yeah, there was a remake, wasn't there? Yeah, and I think it sucked, didn't it? Now, this was actually fucking scary to me as a kid. Um, and you just, like I said, when you go back and watch this movie, you got to watch it with the mindset that you're in the 1970s, because it is kind of dated and cheesy by today's standards, but definitely one you should check out. If you can't look past the datedness and the cheesiness of it, then it's not gonna be effective for you. But if you can separate it and just watch it like with the mindset that you're in the 1970s, it's pretty effective. All right, we've got Saving Private Ryan. I actually also, I'm not gonna take it down, but I've got the two tape set of this movie as well. I just have this one as well because this one doesn't take up as much space. Classic war movie. One of probably my favorite movie ever. It's just, I love it. I definitely prefer to watch the 4K version of it, but nowadays, it's that's a good way to start any fucking movie collection, no matter what format. It's a Saving Private Ryan's a must. All right, we got another must. Schindler's List. Like I said earlier, it's one of the two tape ones. Considering this is a really long film, I honestly don't get in the mood to watch this very often. But when I do, it just makes me. This movie really fucking depresses me. Uh, it's some of Spielberg, besides Saving Private Ryan and Jurassic Park, and even the Indiana Jones movies, and fuck, even Close Encounters of the Third Kind. I think this is probably some of Spielberg's best work. I mean, Spielberg really in his prime didn't make a bad movie. You had Jaws, you had Indiana Jones, E.T., you had Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Amistad, Saving Private Ryan, Schindler's List, Jurassic Park, man. Just Spielberg's my favorite director of all time. All right, we've got seven. I the thing I don't like about this movie is that they say it's superior to Silence of the Lambs. It's not, but it is a damn great thriller, and it's awesome, and it's so fucking amazing. And I'm glad that they didn't do the sequel pitch where apparently Morgan Freeman was going to be a psychic. I don't really think that would have been an idea that would have flown with a lot of fans of this film, so I'm glad that that didn't happen. But yeah, seven, classic film. Got a masterpiece of a film, The Shawshank Redemption. This is a must in anybody's film collection. Um, if you don't like The Shawshank Redemption, you are objectively wrong, and I don't respect your opinion, and of course I'm joking. You all know me by now. But anyway, moving on, we've got Star Wars, which is A New Hope now, but at that time it was Star Wars, just Star Wars. And this is the original version of the film. It's not like the original like edition first VHS, but it is the original version because you had this fucking ugly. I don't like this version of Jabba the Hutt fucking scares me. Something about it that freaks me out. But Star Wars, New Hope, whatever you want to call it. I actually think it's the most overrated movie in the franchise. With that being said, it's a fucking great movie. But this one is better. The Empire Strikes Back. Now, is this my favorite in the franchise? Nada. My favorite in the franchise is actually Revenge of the Sith, followed by Attack of the Clones. Oh, I know, I know, I know. I love Attack of the Clones, and I love Revenge of the Sith. And you know what? This comes in third place. Empire Strikes Back is great. I love all of the Star Wars films 1 through 6. And I put a lot of emphasis on 1 through 6. And Return of the Jedi. I actually probably prefer this over A New Hope. I love Return of the Jedi. It does have some flaws. I think The Empire Strikes Back is perfect. I think this one is flawed. I think this one's got a lot of meaningless expositional dialogue, and there's some not so great effects. But fuck, I mean, I think this is a perfect end to a perfect trilogy. Just as I think Revenge of the Sith is a perfect end to a perfect trilogy. Alright, we've got two more. We've got the film that was actually overshadowed by Saving Private Ryan, and some people think it's better than Saving Private Ryan. I definitely disagree with it being better, but this one's a pretty good war film too, is The Thin Red Line. Great, great war movie. Um, this one gets more in-depth about the people within fighting this war versus Saving Private Ryan is all about the blistering chaos of war as well as sacrifice to save one person. This gets more into the mental anguish of this war. So it's fine if you want to say it's better than Private Ryan. I definitely don't think it's better. I think this one serves a different purpose than Private Ryan does, and it does a great job at it. I'm more partial to Private Ryan, but this came out the same year as Private Ryan did too. So that's why it got overshadowed. But this is definitely a great war movie as well. So if you like Private Ryan, definitely check out The Thin Red Line. I definitely really I love both movies. I'm not one of these people that are like, I like The Thin Red Line, Saving Private Ryan sucks, or Saving Private Ryan's awesome, fuck The Thin Red Line. No, I love both movies. I think they're both great at what they're doing. So, alright, we got the last one, Top Gun. Classic. Top Gun's a must classic, and I know I haven't really spoke much about Top Gun Maverick. I thought it was pretty good. I know I'm sick of these legacy sequels, but I gotta admit, Top Gun Maverick was pretty good. But not quite as good as this original movie. I think this one's better, but that's just me. So that is it for the VHS collection. So I hope you guys enjoyed all 34 minutes of this. Actually, all 35 minutes of this now. Sorry that I rambled on a lot, but yeah, that's my VHS collection. So if you liked it, hit that like and subscribe button. Thank you guys for watching. I don't remember what I normally end with, but I'm out. Peace.